I'm Amy, sex educator, sex and relationship coach, and co-owner of PurePleasureShop.com.
And I'm April, sex toy maven, VP of Hot Octopus, and I've dedicated my life to the business of sex. We're two people with a passion for educating and inspiring shame-free conversations about sex and relationships. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com, and for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.
You were listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Shameless Sex Podcast, your favorite podcast all about banging.
And being shameless about it.
And spooning.
And forking.
And knifing.
Well, only if you're not stabbing.
Hey, knife play. Some people are into it. But yeah, that's not what this episode's about, though. You're like, oh, shit, I chose the knife play episode? Yes, that's my jam. No, this one is with return guest Kenneth Play. He is awesome. He was on our podcast talking about squirting, G-spots. We have all kinds of clips on our TikTok. If you're not following us on TikTok, go find Shameless Sex or Shameless Sex Podcast or Shameless Sex over there.
You know what? We should know that, but I think it's Shameless Sex.
Just go find us.
Just check out that.
Yeah. And Instagram also.
We're Shameless Sex Podcast on Instagram.
And so we put these clips there. We do reels. We do all kinds of fun things. We also have our YouTube, also known as Shameless Sex's YouTube. And there, I believe his full video is there as well. We're trying to grow our TikTok, though. So press pause and go find us now.
We will grow.
We are growing. We're grown. We're already massive. So here we go. But he was so amazing that we decided we were going to have him back probably quarterly. He's pretty awesome. And he has so much to talk about.
This episode was really cool, and it's about his book, which is also it just released, so I haven't read it.
Yeah.
But he takes all of this research and knowledge, and then actually drives it home in this way that I think everyone will. It can resonate. He uses a lot of
analogies.
Associates different practical pieces of life with sex.
It's like going to the gym.
Right.
But you get on a machine, but you don't do anything.
Right.
You know, and you're like, oh, I totally get it. He doesn't talk like that either, by the way. But and he narrows it down in ways that are easier to follow, because who has time to do things that are? I mean, we have. I don't have time, so I like it. Like, just tell me what to do, and I'm gonna start practicing it.
Life hacks, sex hacks. Yeah. We're all about immediate gratification, and this is going to help. So
it's that day and age, which it brings me to technology. I love technology, also known as Discord. Discord is a free app, and on Discord we have a Shameless Sex community where you can meet other Shameless Sex listeners, fans. It's all mostly over chat, but sometimes April and I will go on there and we will answer sex questions or do fun games and things. We have two really awesome moderators on there. Hey, moderators, I love you. You're the best. This week, I believe, when this is going out, April 21st. This is 2022 at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're doing a meet and greet for folks who want to show up to share our challenges and celebrations about sex. And I will definitely be there. I think April will as well. You can just show up and sit there and just watch too. You don't have to even be present for it, like where we see your face or anything. You can still be anonymous. So come and join. And the link will be in the episode's description to join the Discord community.
And it's free.
And it's completely free. I've had people email me like, I can't find the link or it's not working, because sometimes I forget to put it in there. So if you can't find it, just email me. But also, I think if you go to Discord, just look up Shameless Sex. It should be able to pop up as well.
Cool. Sex question time.
Sex question time. My wife has mentioned being curious about a vibrator for a while. Well, we're talking about vibrators in these episodes. It's a popular topic, though. So this is the question. Is it okay for me to initiate this, or should this solely be a decision for her? Also, do you have a product you would recommend for us as a first-time couple using sex toys?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you to this person that cares about their wife and what the need would be for her. And that's really cool. I think shopping for sex toys together online could be a really fun thing to see what it does. And my simple, and I know you'll have more to offer, but my simple thing is that no bodies are the same, and you may or may not know what you're going to like until you try a few different things. You love air pulse technology. I like it. It's not my go-to. I think my brain receives the magic wand in a way that I just can get me off every time. It's not to say that will change. but there's so much tech out there. WeVibe makes the insertable, wearable thing. There's so many options, and it's like the sex tech revolution's happening right now. So maybe you can try a few different things that are popular, that are bestsellers that we've talked about before, and figure out what you like, or try things on a weekly basis and get more of the tech that you both love.
Yeah. I think that it's okay for a partner to go out and buy some toys and bring it home and be like, we want to try some things. And especially if your partner already stated, I'm interested in trying vibrators. So if you were to go do that, you might not get the perfect one. Like April said, everyone's different, but go into it with this openness. Like, let's try some things. And maybe you go for like, the toys that aren't $200 right away, and you get a couple, like 1 or 2 or 3 that you can experiment with to see what kind of toys your partner likes, because it sounds like your partner's never used one, maybe. They're curious about using vibrator, or maybe you just haven't used it together. It sounds like they don't own one. So like April's saying, you don't know if they're going to like strong vibrations. Do they want it externally on the clitoris? Do they want medium? Do they want light? Do they want it internal? They want to be fucked with a big dildo that also vibrates somewhere here and there.
We need our shameless sex pics on purepleasureshop.com.
I know.
We have to, because there are some that we refer to often.
Yeah.
And the Curve, I love the Curve, a G-spot product. If you want to learn about internal stim, there's products that I recommend for my friends based on what they like, but you need to know if you want external stim, penetration, or if you want thrusting, if you want an anal toy.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to
totally
decipher.
Yeah, we should create that. Yeah, so like what April's talking about, so the Curve honestly is a great starting toy with a K. So yeah, KURVE. And we have this at purepleasureshop.com, and all of these products, and you can get 15% off with coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com. And I own that store with my mom. Hi mom, we love you. And mom, you heard what April said that we have to create now. Here's more homework for you. But the Curve would be a good one if you don't really know, because you can experiment with internal and external with that one. You could do G-spot.
And it also has a higher pitched buzzy vibrator, and it has a motor that is rumbly, deep, and bass, and you can
2 different ones.
Separate them and use one or the other or both together. So that could be a way to figure out what sensations you enjoy and where.
And it's not big and bulky. It's like a really great size. It's beautiful, beautiful product. So some other recommendations. So I'll go with Hot Octopus as well. I love the Digit. It's a wearable ring vibrator, and you don't have to wear it on your fingers, but it's great for couples play, because anywhere a hand can go, this product is there, and then you have like a vibrating finger, and it's powerful, it's rechargeable. It's like $70.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that it's really easy, where all the movements that you're doing, you don't have a big bulky vibrator, although the Curve isn't even that bulky. And then what you were saying earlier about WeVibe products, they're generally known as kind of the go-to couples vibe. So especially the WeVibe Chorus
for penis and vagina sex.
Exactly.
Sort of. Yeah.
So like the vulva owner can wear it. So one part clips in under the pubic bone on the G area, and then the other part clips up around. So it's like a C curve, kind of clips up on the clitoris, and you have the more powerful motor on the clitoris, and then a less powerful motor internally, and then you can have penetration at the same time. It works with a wireless remote as well as Bluetooth technology with an app. All of these things are great places to start. It just depends what your partner likes.
Yeah. I think versatility is key, and I'm a big fan of getting things that are body safe. So you don't want to feel burning or some weird smells coming from your products. You want to make sure, meaning the chemicals. So make sure you do, if you can afford to, spend a little bit more and get something that is going to be body safe, and ergonomic is nice, meaning it will work with the way your anatomy is structured most of the folks.
And generally speaking, all sex positive online sex shops are going to have only body safe materials, like Pure Pleasure Shop and all the other ones that are more like, I would say they're all just women owned, but they're sex positive. Or like if you go in person to a store, whereas there are plenty of online and in-person stores that don't care about quality and materials, and they'll have things that have toxic materials. But Pure Pleasure doesn't have that, and just stick with sex positive sex shops online and in person.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for a bio?
Let's do it.
All right. Kenneth Play is an international expert on female pleasure who was named the world's greatest sex hacker by GQ and Men's Health. Kenneth has been featured by more than 100 media outlets, including the New York Times, Nightline, Cosmo, Playboy, Vice, and Huffington Post. Go get Kenneth's latest book, Beyond Satisfied, A Sex Hacker's Guide to Endless Orgasms, Mind-Blowing Connection, and Lasting Confidence. Now at kennethplay.com/book. And be sure to check out his Sex Hacker Pro course at kennethplay.com.
All right, everyone. It is interview time, and we are here with repeat guest Kenneth Play. Kenneth's episode number 249 on squirting was a big hit. We in all realms, in the audio realm, we also had video clips we put online. We had a video on YouTube. With this one, we'll have the same thing. YouTube video. If you're not following us on YouTube, go find Shameless Sex. If you're not on Instagram, also go find Shameless Sex, because there will be some wonderful clips there. And we're visual people, so who doesn't want to see us and the sexy Kenneth Play? This time we are here to talk about Kenneth's new book, specifically focusing on a sex hacker's guide to endless orgasms, mind-blowing connection, and lasting confidence. Ooh. And we love sex hacking, and we also love the journey. But for a lot of folks, we don't have a lot of time. We're like, let's get to it. So Kenneth made a whole book about that through a lot of his experiences and teachings and learning. So let's dive in. And so Kenneth, you've already done this before on our show, but can you tell our listeners about how you got to where you are today in the field of sexuality?
So I'm going to give you a short version of a long story, but I'm probably the world's most unlikely sex educator person who's uploading video onto Pornhub and teaching people on squirting. I was a painfully shy Asian immigrant with an average-sized cock. I thought, from the type of cultural message about just Asian men not being sexy. If you don't have a porn star cock, you are worthless, and you don't know how to ground and pound for like a half an hour, that you're not amazing, you're not worthy of being a good lover. So I'm also a really sexual person. So when I got to my 30s, the first thing I did was I thought if I hacked my body, I was a personal trainer first, and if I learned how to have a superhero body, maybe I would be better in bed. But what I learned is no matter how externally successful I am, my internal insecurity about my self-esteem still affected my sex life quite a bit. So when I decided to kind of hack my own sex life with some of the things I learned in the fitness industry, that really opens my eye and transform everything I see. And I let go of a lot of myths like bigger is better, and really understand female orgasm and pleasure. And then it's actually true. If you build it, they will come. So if you acquire the competency of pleasure and how to really deeply connect with someone with the right level of intimacy, the right sensation, the right skill, the right technique to the erotic context, if everybody's aroused from their brain to their heart to their body, it really creates remarkable sex. And I think I am a example of someone adapting a growth mindset to sex and really changed my life in so many ways.
Yeah. And we're so excited to talk to you about this new book because the title is incredible. So I can only imagine. I haven't been able to read it yet because it's new. So let's talk about Beyond Satisfied, a sex hacker's guide to endless orgasms, mind-blowing connection, and lasting confidence. What inspired this book and who is it for?
Well, I first started because I'm part of a sex positive community called Hacienda. We do education events, do sex party, etc. I started teaching there, and I got a really positive response because I teach like a personal trainer, which some people are not very used to that format. So I do like a TED Talk like lecture, and then they do a demo, and then I have everyone do it like a acro yoga class partner style. And it seems I got so many positive response. So one of Beth, who is Andrew, the co-founder, the founder's wife, and also these are events and parties, she said, hey, maybe you should tape this and put it on Pornhub and see what happens. So we just did a very like homemade version of this where I taught it like a fitness class and uploaded to Pornhub and see what happened. And then after that, I think my channel has over 16 million views by now on Pornhub, and it's been received, like everyone loved the style of education and content. And it's one of the things that they never thought they needed this. It's not just some guy explaining something on a PowerPoint, but like I actually do it and do a show and tell in a way that they could get it in a real world scenario. So that sparked my whole interest in creating a video course called Sex Hacker Pro. So when I created a course, now I have like more than 10,000 students who have taken my course, and they love it, and all the sex hack that I've accumulated. And then everyone asked me to write a book. So after the success of the course, I decided to get all the things that I've been learning that I couldn't put it into the course as well and put everything in one book. So it addressed all the things that I've been researching and thinking about and translating to the world.
So that's penis owners, vulva owners, pretty much anyone out there in the world can read this?
I think anyone who is about female pleasure, like that's the focus. So anyone who likes to give female pleasure. And also I think it's very important for people who want to learn how to receive as well, because it's two parts, right? Like one has to be a good receiver and one has to be a good giver. Like you could go try to, it's like eating on a diet, you know, when you're trying to feel like, oh, I shouldn't eat this cake, you know, you don't actually enjoy the cake, you know, although like you have to put yourself in that right mindset. It also, I think a lot of women been buying my book to their partner because, and this might be a gross generalization, but most women don't like to teach their man how to have sex with them. So they rather me do it. So has been the guy.
Yeah. So my partner, I don't have to teach my partner about sex. Wonderful in the sex world. And he watched some of your videos on YouPorn. He's like, Kenneth is amazing. So if y'all haven't checked out those videos, go check that out. And then also all this other content that you have in the book. So your book extensively elaborates on 10 sex hacker topics and beyond, right? So we're just kind of narrowing this down to 10 of the top topics that you're talking about. And we'd really love if you could share a little bit about each of them. One is how to help her experience squirting for the first time. And so we're not going to dive into that one. Again, we will refer you all back to episode number 249. That's all about squirting. And that's Kenneth talking about that topic. And it was one of our top episodes. So let's start with the topic of overcoming performance anxiety like a world-class athlete. What's that all about?
I think performance anxiety and function pressure happens no matter what body you have. Like for male and female body, performance anxiety is psychological ED, is a lot of guy experience. And not that their dick cannot get hard from like a biological, physiological sense, is that they're feeling so much anxiety, they're not in the state of arousal. Or they feel like they are not able, sometimes, you know, they might be just intoxicated and too drunk to do it, right? But there is a lot of times that, you know, women have different types of performance anxiety because although when you see, you know, a clit being engorged, right, being fully turned on and filled with blood, it's harder to see than a penis. Penis is pretty straightforward. But also female performance anxiety as in, no, I need to come faster. Why am I not feeling great? Why don't I feel safe enough? Or whatever the case may be. So I address some of the hacks that top athletes do not to choke when they're in the moment of like, this is the most important game of my life. I need to perform. But they don't go spin out thinking that the whole time. So they actually cannot perform when they're in that state. So what athletes learn to do is how to calm themselves in a state where they could be the most effective. And so and the worst advice that you could give people is say, just relax. No one knows how to. They'd be like, shut the fuck up. It's not helpful. So there's specific hacks that athletes do and to get themselves back in that state. So as soon as you feel safe enough and relaxed enough, then arousal will start again. So I think that is very useful for anybody. Yeah.
So this will go into everything from like, so penis owners will speak like, I'm not hard enough, or my erection's not going to last, or I'm going to come too soon, or I'm not going to come at all. And for vulva owners, similar experiences of I'm not aroused, I'm not going to orgasm. Those are kind of the primary things that the performance anxiety things that you're speaking to.
Yeah, but the problem is once people they know they're in that dark loop, they don't know what to do exactly to get out of it. So I could tell you, if you feel like this, you cannot get aroused, like, duh. But like, you got to give them a hack on like literally how to get themselves out of it, like step by step and what to focus on. So some of like from Tantra practices to mindful, like meditation, like mindfulness really help. And also the thoughts that, you know, like people go like, if you're too attached and too focused on orgasm, then you cannot come, right? So then don't value orgasm. It's actually not exactly smart either. Like orgasm is important. It's like going to a restaurant, not getting your food, like for a lot of people, right? So how do you have the best of both worlds? How do you detach from the goal enough so you could play your best? And you're probably going to get the goal because you're playing your best game, but you have to serve them both. And I give very specific techniques and hack on how to do that.
Okay, I like where this is going. So what about fulfilling her naughtiest fantasies by understanding her erotic mind? Meow.
So Emily Nagoski wrote a book called Come As You Are, and it's very important and talks about basically you have a dual control system in your brain. One is telling you something you shouldn't do, inhibits you. One excites you, right? So the first hack we talk about overcoming anxiety is that you lower inhibition, right? You are in the place that we safe and aroused. The other things that the situation have to be exciting for you. Now, like every woman is different slightly on what arouses them in a erotic context. So some people love someone who's very patient and very soft in the beginning of the date. But when you get down to sex, they like the animalistic, more dominant energy. So some guys, if you don't understand that there's two phases of the experience, phase one is about creating safety, and the other phase two is about creating excitement. But we have to know exactly what is exciting to that person. It might vary. So women have different fantasy. It could be like a 50 Shades of Grey kind of fantasy, or it could be a super romantic rose petal central slow experience. But if you do not understand what turns you on, so sometimes you are doing everything right physically, but you're not doing it in the same energy and vibe. You're just kissing me like you're trying to, like you kiss a little princess. I want you to kiss me like a slut. There, you're still kissing, but there's a difference. So if you don't understand her erotic mind or context, then you're not bringing the right energy that is arousing. It's like watching the wrong genre of movie. Mm-hmm. You're watching a movie, but it's the wrong genre. Yeah.
You have a lot of good analogies, like the comparisons there that I love how it works for my brain. I can see why you're so good at creating a sex hacker book, because you can see like, here's how it applies to your everyday life as well. Like, here's an example. Like, why would you do this when you could do it this way in an easier way? And also, and what I'm hearing you say too, is like, here's an easier route, but this is all really complex, but you've spent so much time kind of narrowing it down to give us a more, like a smoother way into all of these processes. So what about curating a 90-minute orgasmic experience? I want one of those, please.
My mentor, Pamela Madsen, who is the founder of Back to the Body Retreat, I have the privilege to work with her for many years, where we get to give those experiences to many of their participants. And it's really focused on female pleasure and education and feeling safe and sometimes overcoming trauma. But what I have learned from that experience is that the orgasmic landscape for female bodies is so vast. And it's not like about having one orgasm. You could have endless amount of orgasm throughout that experience with peaks and valleys, but you have to learn how to serve those waves. So when it comes to those orgasmic positive sensation, it's kind of like the ocean, and it will come when it comes. You can't force it. Like, you have to be with the ocean, but you also have to teach the person how to ride it, right? Do all the big peaks and valleys. And there's specific techniques that works really well. But when I talk about curation, it's about every aspect of that 90-minute, is from the environment to the right music, to the right context, right tone, to the right state that the person needs to be, to sort of the buildup you have. Like when you go to a omakase Japanese restaurant serving you sushi, they're trying to take you on a journey on each pieces, and the amount of salt level, like it escalates. So you kind of have to learn how to curate an experience. And I go over different techniques on how to, it's like a circuit training, like you do push up, then you do a squat, then you do a pull up. So you could start with one sensation that induces an orgasm. Like, just say you're doing penetration with hand stimulation to the clitoris, you have orgasm. And then you could go from that to like an Android and a Vibrator. As long as you change it up, your brain still feel continuously excited. So you kind of could rotate orgasm. Yeah.
You say Android?
You could rotate Android. Yeah.
The stainless steel.
Yeah.
Oh, the Android Pure Wand. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Pure Pleasure, everyone. PurePleasureShop.com. Go get the Android Pure Wand. It's great for the G-spot. 15% off with coupon code ShamelessSex. All right. Anyways.
So you could rotate all different toys, to different type of sensation. You could go from something softer, like if your first orgasm is more of a gentle one, then you have more rooms to build over time, and you could rotate one nerve ending to another. Because I was very lucky during the pandemic. Back in the fitness industry, I used to like read all the the studies on exercise science, like how much should you rest between sets, and how often you should work out, how often you should do legs, and etc. Right? Then you kind of come up with a training program based on those research. But when it comes to sex, we really don't take a lot of the research and turn it into protocol. We just have findings, but no protocol. So when during the pandemic, when I was writing this book, I actually could reach the researcher because they're not in that lab, and they would talk to me about their science. And I really go like, okay, if I understand you correctly about what you're trying to say, can I apply this science like this and create some utility out of it? And one of the most fascinating things about the neural layout, meaning from your genitals, so you're from your clitoris to your G-spot to your A-spot, your cervix, all those nerves, right? Most people think of it like, oh, Americans really like to isolate things. I'm a vegan or a carnivore, so I'll have a G-spot only orgasm, right? But the brain doesn't quite interpret like a single location. It's just that this is the full keyboard, right? Of new notes that you could play. If you keep change up the songs, it keeps responding. So this is a very important finding, is that like, don't be boring in bed is actually key, right? But you don't want it, but once you find a way, don't fuck with it. Like, go with it until it's over. It's like the most frustrating thing is some guys doing something to you start to feel good, and they decide to do something else. It's like the most annoying thing. So catch one waves at a time, but the next one will come when you do something slightly different. So how to turn all that science into a 90-minute experience is what I put together.
It's kind of like a sexual playlist. When I'm working out, I have my playlist, and some songs kind of bring me down and I want this next song to come on. And some of them I love, and I just get into beast mode, which brings me to the next question, or not the next question, but the next piece of this book and part of the 10, which is fuck like a beast with any size cock.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, being an average penis owner myself, I have done, this is how I see the world. When we come to sex, there's this myth that like life is a basketball game. The taller, the better, right? But there's not. There is a pleasure fit. It's just like your shoe, right? It should fit your feet. So there is average vagina size and there's average penis size. And if you overlay the bell curve, most people fit. And there's the extreme end, right? They're really, really small and they're really, really big. And they both have a really hard time if they're on either end, but most people fit, right? So we have this, there's a chapter on the book called Beyond Size that people overemphasize the important. If it was true that women have the best orgasm with the biggest penis, then the biggest dildo will sell the most, right? But that is not the truth.
That's not true. Yeah, exactly.
It's not true. For some people, there is definitely a size queen out there, but that is not majority of women, meaning that the bigger is better. There's a certain percentage of women that is true, like up to a limit, right? So there's a optimal U, a diminished return. But anyway, for most, so I'm 5'9", right? Most guys with an average size penis will walk around like they're 4'11". They think they're that short. So for all the people who are just perfectly healthy and could do the job, is to teach them how to use the penis they have in order for them to create the sexual experience. Because if the guy's so hung up on their dick, it also makes them terrible lover. But most of the time, their dick is good enough that so that's that part. And then so that's their own relationship with the size of their penis, and all the other things like the angle of entry, what sensation are you trying to create with your penis, vary so from like the stroke value, the travel, how deep you're going, to the rate of doing it, and to the angle you're doing it. If you understand all those things, you could actually create a movement pattern that stimulates her vagina, her clitoris in a way that feels good. So if you could calibrate until it feels good, just like salting your food when it's just right, then if you could keep that motion up and have some rhythm, it usually creates way more pleasure than just thinking you need a big cock and jackhammer away.
Jack Hammer, the porn star. Oh, rest in peace. So we used to work in an adult store and saw that exactly that. Yes, sometimes the big dildos sold well, but plenty of people wanted average size dildos. And let me tell you, everyone, when you go into a sex shop, most of the dildos are above average, like but there are some smaller dildos or average dildos, but the majority of them are going to be above average. And if you go in a sex shop and you're like, my dick it's smaller than all of these, just know that, because that's kind of what is selling more often, but it is not a perfect representation of the general population. Like you said, a lot of people are size queens, or we actually would see people would think they needed the bigger one. They bought it and they came back for the smaller one because they're like, my body's different than other bodies. You know, we're all unique. So just like every cock is unique in size.
This episode is free to you because of our badass sponsors like Manscaped. Spring has sprung, and it's time to clean out your closets, dust those drapes, and tidy up the carpet growing between your legs. Our friends at Manscaped have the best tools to get the job done right. Start your spring grooming with the Performance Package 4.0, with all the right equipment to keep your hedges trimmed and your body smelling fresh. It comes with my favorite waterproof trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. And it's not just for dudes, because I actually use it in the shower to keep my bikini line looking fine too.
This package also comes with their ear and nose hair trimmer that won't tug your holes, anti-chafing moisturizing ball deodorant, and the ball toning spray, so you'll smell better than fresh cut spring flowers. They also have the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for my dude's face and my legs. It's so good, I had to buy one for both of us. And our listeners get 20% off plus free shipping with code SHAMELESS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SHAMELESS at manscaped.com. Out with the old grooming habits and in with the new with Manscaped. All right, back to the show. I feel like we have less conversations around vaginas being different in size, in length, but they are. So why not also embrace that and put them together?
There's a chart on the book explaining the how it pairs. It's so hard to find all those information. So I have a bunch of researchers. Finally, James Faust helped me get the right information about vagina size and how they measured it. But you know that song from Carly B that said, "I wanted you to park this Big Mac truck in my tiny garage," is not true.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, that sounds painful.
Also, there's a thing where your vaginal canal can kind of become smaller when you're cycling and when your cervix drops. So it actually can change. Sometimes even an average size cock for me can be too much feeling in my vaginal canal. I have a shallow vagina, and that's just the fact of the matter.
So she's not looking for the big, what is it, Big Mac truck? Is it not?
I'm not. The Big Mac trucks hurt me.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, no, I'll take an average truck, please. Thanks. Okay. What about circuit training style multiple orgasm technique? What the fuck is that?
That's what I mentioned earlier on the circuit training, as in, you do one sensation. So you just say you do a hand squirting motion, induce an orgasm, and then you go to penetration with a vibrator, then you go to anal bondage spanking. So you just keep rotating things to keep the brain excited and providing a new stimulation that is pleasurable. Then you could actually keep coming if you keep the game exciting.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a good restaurant, every dish, course is delicious. You somehow find the room. Yeah.
Speaking of the foodie over here, I'm pointing at April. She's like, I know what you're talking about.
Yes. I'm like, bring another course, please. I'm salivating.
Yeah.
And her pussy got wet.
That's a great analogy. As Amy said, you have wonderful analogies to really help my brain put all these pieces together in a way that I can understand. And the circuit training is great because I am an avid person that likes to work out, and I understand the buildup, and I get bored. You can compare sex to workouts so easily because it's similar. And I get bored. If I did the same workout over and over and over again, I don't think I would even continue to work out. Same with sex. If you're just missionary style or doggy style, time and time and time and time and time and time again, you might not want to even tap into your partner. If it's a long-term partner, you might be like, fuck that, dude. I'm so tired of the missionary. Can we please switch it up? Like, swing me around, use that Big Mac truck in my little garage.
Or some anal.
Yes. So I like this circuit training style mentality or thinking about it that way. So, or the coursed meal as well, Kenneth. Way to analyze that. Analyze that. Analyze that. What about this? Unlock all her erogenous zones, C, A, P, and G spots plus anal. What are these?
So I was lucky to talk to other researcher and really understand the neuroanatomy. And I have such detail, and it's never been made before in this detail. So So I did a lot of the comparison between, and those are all custom diagram.
So he's holding up his book, everyone. So go to YouTube if you're into it and check out, or just buy the book and check out all of these illustrations.
Yeah, they're very in depth.
They have QR codes in all the diagrams, or you could it goes to my website, which show you the in motion, because black and white in 2D is so limiting. So I have all the stuff made in different perspective to see the changes and all the neural layout. But back to the spot, I want to help people discover the whole keyboard of sensation that you could feel. Some are more foreign that your brain haven't learned that could induce orgasm. So for most straight dudes who's have maybe like feeling a little bit more homophobic about having that prostate touch, but they have no idea that part of their body could possibly induce an orgasm, right? So they're just more zones, more keyboards. And the beautiful thing about sexual learning for the brain is that while you're having more orgasm, meaning if you're having orgasm reliably, you're more likely to able to learn new ways to have pleasure. If you're stuck on a loop that you don't get much pleasure, then you're more like, this is never going to work. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that if you go to the lowest hanging fruit, what is the most reliable spot, right? That one spot, or one way to provide sensation that is the most reliable to orgasm. And once you get the first one, you could use that one to assist on new discovery. So let me tell you a little bit more in detail. So if your clitoris, external rubbing or whatever, however you masturbate, is the most, or vibrator is the most predictable, easiest way for you to have orgasm, you could use that as the driver of your arousal. So you use the same technique to bring your arousal to like edging, like you're almost about to come, and then lower that sensation and touch your G-spot more. So while your arousal is super high, and then you lower the vibration or the rubbing, and then you continue to use the enjoy until you want to come so bad that your brain just let the G-spot tip you over, and then your brain forms a new pathway. Oh, this could induce orgasm, and then it just learn and learn and learn. So you could do this repeatedly on all the spots. If you want to be a complete sex nerd, you could see how many things that you could unlock within your body. Not that you need to unlock all the possibility, right? But it's whatever that is most pleasurable to you. But there is a way to learn how to have more orgasm. But there's specific hacks like drive up your arousal, go to the dependent, the most dependable sensation, and then add things.
I've heard of people even doing that. I think with Hot Octopus, right, April? Like people had spinal cord injuries, and they, well, this is kind of a side note, like, but they had orgasms one way, and now it has changed. And I think Hot Octopus, a sex toy company that April works for, has done a lot of research around that. Or people who can't feel from the waist down now they learn how to orgasm from their armpit.
Yeah,
like
they rezone from their earlobes, and earlobe has So the same idea, but it's much easier. I mean, that's a very unfortunate extreme case where you can feel from your neck down. But the key that I found from my own research and hacking is to drive up as much arousal as possible while you're training. So you don't want to work on an end that you build up from nothing. Like that feeling that you get when you're about to come, everything kind of feels amazing. So you want to use that energy and train a new spot with that. It's like positive reinforcement.
We always come back to this, and I always ask this trivia question to people. What is your largest sex organ? And they're like, my tongue, my penis.
Or sometimes they say skin.
Or
that's
they
smart,
say skin, right. Yeah. And it's your brain, and creating these new narrow pathways that you're talking about is huge. And the armpit orgasm or the edging piece where you can learn how to tap into that is really cool, that our bodies are always developing and changing, that we can learn to do that. And that it's not our genitals that are our largest sex organ. Thank fucking the goddesses for that one.
Thank goddess, gato ass. And with that, let me ask about this one. Okay, different orgasm types. What is popcorn, volcano, and back to back?
So there's different orgasm pattern that researchers have found, and Lioness have an amazing blog about it too. When they have a dildo that measure the contraction of the pelvic floor to see the pattern of contraction that's the positive sensation, that's the physical sensation that you experience. So when I'm talking about popcorn and volcano and back to back, the one that I'm talking about is multiple orgasms. So multiple orgasm could happen like you've been having sex for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you have orgasm in minute 3, minute 8, minute 11, and minute 15. They kind of just happen in popcorn style and random times. Back to back as they happen consecutively. They just one after the other. They're rolling and continue. Volcano is more of a male body of orgasm. Is more like they're big build up, big eruption, and they come down. Like you get tired afterward and you kind of lose energy. So there's different type of orgasm that people experience, and you could see what pattern that your body is more not wired to, but prefer initially. But how you start something doesn't mean how you're going to end with something. So meaning that you could start off one way, then you discover that you have other ability. But once you learn the orgasm pattern, then you learn how to ride with that person.
I like that. I like
depending on how they go.
The visualization of popcorn and volcano. Yeah, that makes total sense for me. So yeah,
back to back,
which feels amazing. But now I'm tired, and maybe I want to do back to back. I want to
back to back. Just reminds me of Drake. Because he sings a lot of songs about back to back. Sorry, that was coming back to Drake. Okay, time for a quick break. This podcast is free to you because of our amazing sponsors like Uberlube. Uberlube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that can enhance your sex and intimacy. Uberlube's unique formula is velvety, long-lasting, with no flavor or scent, and it feels absolutely incredible on the body. There are thousands of doctors recommending Uberlube to their patients because it's less likely to throw off your pH than most other lubes. So whether you want to make your hot sex even hotter, or you want to prevent dryness, take our advice and check out our favorite go-to, Uberlube.
Uberlube isn't just for sex. I use it for massage, to tame my frizzy hair, to prevent chafing, even for oral sex sessions. I love how it comes in a beautiful bottle with a pump top for easy access, appearing more like a cosmetic product so you can leave it on your nightstand shamelessly. Uberlube is without a doubt my favorite lube, and countless listeners agree, often stating, "We never knew lube could be this good." To learn why we think it's the best lube on the planet, check out uberlube.com and use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com. Use code SHAMELESSSEX for 10% off and free shipping. This podcast was also made possible by OMGYes.com. OMGYes combines scientific research of real vulva owners so you can learn shame-free techniques on how to pleasure the pussy. OMGYes studied 20,000 plus people of all ages and turned the research into animated modules, short videos, and beautiful infographics that are tasteful and easy to understand. Whether you want to learn about external pleasure, internal stimulation, or techniques with toys, OMGYes can help you master vulva pleasure. Let me tell you, I've been recommending OMGYes to my clients for years, and it's been changing their lives because knowledge really can activate your pleasure power.
OMGYes is for anyone who cares about vulva pleasure and wants to take it to the next level. OMGYes can help you become a sexual strategist by equipping you with the tools you need to unlock your pleasure potential. Plus, your OMGYes purchase helps fund more pleasure research. OMG, that's great! Only pay once, and these techniques are yours forever. That's right, this is not a subscription service, and you don't need to download a thing. So go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off when you purchase any OMGYes season. Again, go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off right now. Time to pursue your pleasure. And now, back to the show. So what about foreplay techniques to maximize arousal? And I'm sure this one is endless and vast.
Mm-hmm.
I spent quite a bit of time talking about consent and negotiating sex. I think one of the fundamental rule, and this might be slightly off topic, is that the golden rule is that you should have your partner's best interest in mind. That should be the first, like their well-being above all, not your desire to get laid at that moment, not anything else. If you do that, then you could create a safe container for arousal to happen. If that's not the case, then it's actually literally not safe, right? So creating that safety is really important. After that, I think foreplay is what most people think is all the things you do before you put your penis inside. And that's not how I look at foreplay. Foreplay is where you build up the arousal. So, and many times is that you could actually have a couple of warm-up orgasms, because if I die, I would love to come back and have a clitoris, because I've seen the orgasm that you lady able to have, and I'm so jealous. And all the training I have to do to feel an ounce of what you ladies experience sometime. But I do think having most of the time having a couple of warm-up orgasm, it will lead to better penetrative sex because having an orgasm first really relaxes your body. And there's usually no refractory period for female bodies. So it's the major win. So it's not everything before penetration, but all the things to optimize arousal for the entire journey. But I have very specific techniques, like, the gravity blanket is popular for a while with pressure.
The weighted blankets.
So pressure, so if you lay on top on your partner and just have close skin contact with pressure and take some breaths together, is a really good grounding technique where you're having enough gravity blanket like pressure throughout the whole body to focusing. So Kingster has a lot of like the games like sensation is helps your mind, because a lot of people have ADHD when it comes to sex. They're thinking about 18,000 different things. So certain things like how do you ask someone to pay attention? So and then you literally tell your partner, I want you to pay attention and pay attention to where my finger is tracing on your body. So you just give them something to focus their mind so they become more mindful in the moment. And then they anticipate your sensation to, like, I love a warm-up technique. I have warm coconut oil where I'm slowly dripping drops when someone is blindfolded, so they pay attention to the warm sensation hitting the skin from different places. That's a great mindfulness hack that kind of make your world a little smaller, so you're in your body. So foreplay to go from warm-up orgasm to just bringing the present into the moment.
I love that sensation play and just the reminders that we can utilize with partners to bring them into presence. And then it's sexy and sensual at the same time. So you can have a lot of fun with it. Something that came to mind for me when you said, when you die, you want to come back as a clit owner. When I die, I want to come back as a penis owner, because I just want to see what that's all about. But I was thinking about Betty Dodson, also rest in peace, Betty Dodson. And I was watching one of her last videos that she did. I was in an interview, and she's like, I'm ready for death. Death is the ultimate orgasm. Like, that woman has had thousands upon thousands, maybe millions of orgasms.
And the little death.
Yeah, the little death. But she's like, it's going to be the biggest, best orgasm I've ever had in my entire life. And she died the way she wanted to. And so anyways, just wanted to highlight that one. Okay, so here's the last one. Aftercare to make her feel truly cared for. In the beginning, we talked about like the safety beforehand. Now we're talking about, after with the playtime. Can you share a little more about that?
So this is not my words, right? This is evolutionary psychiatrist that talks about how we are built. So post-sex is sort of the most vulnerable for women or female body people, right? They feel, oh, now you could impregnate me, and then you stuck me with this decision, and you got to run away and disappear. So that's a very important time for people not to be assholes, especially post-sex. That moment is vulnerable. Even in the most casual sex situation, you still want to be extremely nurturing and caring at that moment. So you could have the kinkiest of sex like prior to that moment, but transitioning into giving appropriate amount of aftercare, situational dependent, but to really feel someone that they care for. You're not just there to like take advantage or use them and manipulate them, and to transition that experience, to ground that experience as something positive and an exchange of the good vibes between two people, from like the sex that you just have sex at an orgy in an orgy bed to your marital sex. I think that experience is so important, and there's specific ways to do it. I had this goddess bath ritual. That's like the ultimate 90-minute experience where, you put flowers in a warm bath, you bring someone in there and give them a whole sensual experience, and you tell them all the ways that you notice or acknowledge them or appreciate them. So you could take it to a very high level for Valentine's Day, or just simply like someone might have some emotion post-sex that you don't know. You don't need to investigate. You're not an investigative journalist. You could just hold space and just be comfortable with the feeling that is coming up and not make it about you. Mm-hmm. Is also very important. So it could be very psychological hacks to very physical, just providing things. One of my favorite things to say to a partner is after sex, when they're in the space where they're so relaxed and they just have all the orgasm, like naturally they just go like, oh, this is the space where they cannot defend if a wild animal came into the room, right? Like they're in that state. And usually you would catch them have a moment, they feel like they need to get back to management Inc. They need to do something, right? I need to take care of something, and they get in that mode and they don't allow themselves to relax feel safe. So I say, don't manage anything. I got this. It's the sweetest things you could say. Just stay in your body.
You just made my pussy so happy when you said that. My pussy was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Don't kick back to management. And if you're watching on YouTube, you look at two of their faces, you will get it, because that really deeply resonate. And I think doing that will create the reciprocity that we all seek.
Yeah, that could be in life too. Just don't worry about it. I got you. Be like, oh,
thank you.
I love
now
you.
Can we fuck?
I think the safety piece is so huge, and it's something that I never considered before I was in the business of sex, right? In this business. And then it's so obvious, but it is not something that is completely natural. At least what I experienced in my sexual experiences there was a lot of safety, and safety meaning that my comfort level was never addressed with penis owners that I had been hooking up with, right? It was a lot of times about them. So this book is really awesome. I'm so happy the tools are out there. I love that you had access to these researchers and you were able to speak one-on-one with them and get all of this science and mix it with these hacks that are relatable to everyday things outside of the bedroom. And taking the approach of the athlete is so cool. So I'm loving it. Even if you're not an athlete, you've I'm sure seen a soccer game or a tennis game or football. So you can relate on some level to what the athletes have to do and putting your game face on in the bedroom and not spinning out of control and getting in your head. So I love this, Kenneth. And I want to buy this book for sure, support you and your work because you're so incredible. And for our folks out there who would also like access to you, your work, your book, will you please let folks know how they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on kennethplay.com. Then you find all my social, and the book is there. And if you want to go specifically to the book, go to kennethplay.com/book. I'm still working with Amazon. They currently shadow ban my books. It's harder to search on Amazon, which my book is comparable to She Come First, like content-wise. And I don't know why. I'm working through that, but please come support me. Go to kennethplay.com/book. And like everything is, a lot. I feel like sometime in sex education, a lot of it is you're just talking about theories and ideas. Mm-hmm. I take those science and really turn it to utility. Like every orgasm, I chart them on things, and every technique shows you from a external point of view to like literally how you do it with the illustration. So everything is in motion and I'm also a learning nerd. To me, most people don't want to be better sex educated. They don't want more information. They want to translate the learning into the bedroom. Mm-hmm. And I have dedicated myself on this book to not only give you the information, but help you turn this information to utility so you could experience the pleasure that we could all experience in your body. And one of the things I learned is when you're generous to women, they are 10 times more generous to you. And I hope men just get this. If you really are generous in the bedroom, you will get the best blowjob and any fucking you ever could possibly dream of. But,
everybody wins.
Be generous first. Yeah.
I can just imagine it in the bedroom on a book stand next to the person you're hooking up with, the vulva, and you're like, hold on, wait right there. Kenneth says I have to angle this way, position this way, and the diagrams are helpful, just you holding them up. I'm a visual learner. So.
And there's the QR code thing. That's really cool that you can go and actually see like interactive pieces online.
And in motion.
Yeah,
and I could update them. Yeah. And then that was the vagina to penis size and how it compares on the average.
Oh, interesting.
And just you want to hear something really kind of like it's a quick thing that I discovered. I just find it really fascinating. You know why bigger penises and bigger boobs and hip to ratio works for humans' mind? So the theory is, like when you watch a Burger King commercial, even though Burger King is disgusting, somehow looking at that burger that looks beautiful makes you salivate and be hungry for. So we have this type of visual trigger that tell us what good is. And is it basically through a visual system that we associate. It has nothing to do with how it actually make us feel, but we associate certain visual cues to be more pleasurable is how we are wired. So a lot of those bigger is better myths or more curvy. Like now on Instagram, every butt is like ridiculous. And there's a
Like
trend.
that's not
But
real.
it's hacking.
Yeah.
But it's hacking our visual system. So it's not, but it does not equal pleasure. I think that's what people really need to understand. So just because how something look or hijack our visual system. Just like your phone hijacking our attention system by giving you tons of notifications doesn't necessarily is good for you. So if you really want to experience the best pleasure rather than what give you the promise of pleasure, you want to experience the pleasure, then learn how to have the pleasure.
And it sounds like no matter what genitals you're rocking, no matter what size you're going with, there are ways that you can orgasm and deliver orgasm. So that's cool. And go check Kenneth's book out. And thank you, Kenneth. You are always such a fantastic human to have on the show. I just love your information. And I hope to see you again soon because you are just this encyclopedia of sexual knowledge.
Didn't we say we were going to do an episode in the future all on anal? I think we said that last time.
We did.
So let's say
I love that. I would love to. There's a hack in there called Release the Kraken. It's like
that's amazing. That's one of my favorite things to say when I drink this kind of rum. It's called the Kraken. We're not sponsored by them, but I'm like, Amy, release the Kraken.
So you're talking about anal now?
Oh my God. I also have this move called the assassin. Oh, that kind of.
Oh my God. That's hot.
Oh, wow.
It's a hand in an ass.
I hope you all are watching this on YouTube because you can get a little taste of some of the diagrams in Kenneth's book.
Or just go get the book.
Well, we'll have you back for sure. And thank you. Thank you so very much. So much gratitude for you. And so much gratitude for all of you shameless sex revolutionaries listening each week, or sometimes maybe you tune in once a month, whenever you're tuning in. If you can just go ahead and give us 5 stars on iTunes. We read every single review, and all this does is help more folks out there find people like Kenneth Play and his work, and it helps more people have better sex and more amazing sex and love their genitals and love themselves. So please go ahead. If you don't want to write a long review, you don't have to. You can just give us emoji or the fucking squirt emoji. I don't care. I will read it, which I don't really read emojis. I just look at them, but I like them. So thank you so much. We love each and every one of you so much. Okay. So much. Forever and always. XOXO. All right. I'm done with that. All right, y'all. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Shameless Sex. Ciao for now.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com, and for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.